This year's light on those Cinderella stories and true end of game drama. Number 13 seeds or lower advanced out of the first round. There have been no buzzer beaters and no overtime games outside of South Carolina. The lower seeded teams remaining in the Sweet 16 are all traditional basketball powerhouses. Ted, is this a tournament stock down this year?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the tournament is the best sporting event in America, hands down, every year. Now, part of that is a function of the number of games you play. You play 67 games, sooner or later you're going to get games that people are going to talk about. But the other thing is that this is what almost always happens. People bemoan the fact this year that the first round was not that exciting. We didn't have these Cinderella teams. And look what happened in the second round. Duke goes out, a huge upset. Villanova, the number 1 overall seed, goes out, a huge upset. Louisville, another 2 seed, goes out, another big upset. It's not as exciting when the teams doing the upsetting are, Wisconsin and South Carolina and Michigan, which are hardly, paupers by any stretch of the imagination. But this is what the tournament always does. It will deliver sooner or later, and it will give you the surprises that get people talking the first weekend, the powerhouse teams that deliver on the second weekend to set up a third weekend that has a field in the Final Four that you will say, okay, it makes sense that one of these teams is going to win a national championship because we've been talking about them all year long. And the way it looks right now, there aren't going to be any, sort of fluke champions. I mean, it's good when Butler and Gonzaga, although Gonzaga hasn't been there, but George Mason, VCU, it's fun when those teams get to the Final Four, but I don't know if it would be, there's a downside to that for the sport, which is that it would devalue an entire season if a team that is clearly not one of the, let's say, 32 best in the country just happens to get hot at the exact right moment and carries it all the way to championship. We haven't seen that yet. It'll be fun if it happens one time, but there's something to be said for a sport that even as crazy as a one game and out scenario setup would imply it could be, you could still wind up with a champion that's Kansas or North Carolina or some of these other blue blood teams, Kentucky, UCLA. One of them is going to be cutting the nets down, and that's still probably a pretty exciting thing for people, especially who love the sport.